This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Jones.
I'm Bill Bryant. So good to have you with us on WKYT this morning. A great start to the day on June 7th. Now at 6 a.m., the trial is underway for a Lexington murder case. We'll be taking a look at what to expect in the courtroom today as the case resumes.
And many living here in Lexington can expect their water bills to go up next month. Find out how you can voice your concerns later this evening.
And Hillary Clinton has surpassed the magic number of delegates as she becomes the first female presumptive presidential nominee in American history.
We have a couple of showers out there early this morning in Pulaski County, and then you work your way over toward the southeast where we're seeing some of those showers rolling through Perry and Knott and Floyd counties at this moment. We get into your afternoon, 77, a nice one in store, and it gets even better the next couple of days. I'm going to show you that coming up.
And we'll see you shortly. Let's get to the news. The trial for a high-profile Lexington murder case will resume later this morning.
Mark Taylor is charged with the murder and kidnapping of Alex Johnson back in 2013. WKYT's Mark Barber joins us from the studio with a closer look at what's expected from the courtroom today.
Good morning, Meredith. It is day 2 of Mark Taylor's trial, and today we expect to hear from Alex Johnson's girlfriend. We also expect to hear from Timothy Ballard. He's a key witness for the prosecution because he kidnapped Johnson. Ballard has agreed to testify against Taylor, his former co-worker, as part of his plea deal. Ballard admits he kidnapped Johnson, but he says Taylor beat the 32-year-old to death. During yesterday's opening statements, the prosecution established that Johnson was a drug dealer and he was killed for his marijuana and money. They told jurors that the UK chef was going to quit selling marijuana, but he did not get the chance before he was killed. His mother was the first person to take the stand yesterday, and she said she did not know her son was a drug dealer. Prosecutors are starting to outline their evidence against Taylor. They say they have proof he destroyed his car.
When Mr. Rodriguez asked the defendant what happened in the car, the defendant told him, "You don't want to know." Mr. Rodriguez then took the car over to Baker Iron and Metal on December the 30th of 2013, and the car was crushed and sold for scrap.
The judge thinks this high-profile trial could last 7 more days. Coming up on WKYT News at 6:30, we'll explain what Johnson's girlfriend heard the night he went missing and how that could play into her testimony if she takes a stand today. Bill?
All right, Mark, thank you. Intriguing case, certainly. And the case against a Wayne County man accused of killing his wife will resume today. State police say Joseph Jones killed his wife, 28-year-old Rachel Jones, and put her body in a well near Monticello. Court records show Jones later called 911 to confess to the crime. In that 911 call, Jones said he did it because his wife was going to leave him. Jones will be arraigned later this morning.
A man charged for a double shooting in Knox County will also return to court later this morning. 38-year-old Brian Bunch is charged with attempted murder after investigators say he shot 2 women at a home on Bailey Hollow Connector Road Monday night. Police still don't know what led to the shooting. Bunch's preliminary hearing will begin at 11 o'clock this morning.
Well, we're following a story today that could affect your wallet if you're a customer of Kentucky American Water, which has requested a rate increase.
The change would impact more than 100,000 customers, but there's an opportunity today for the public to voice their opinions. WKYT's Mike Byer is at our live desk with more details. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Meredith. The Kentucky Public Service Commission is holding a public meeting tonight on a request to increase water utility bills for more than 100,000 customers in and around Lexington. It'll be held at the Bluegrass Community and Technical Colleges Conference Center on the Leestown Road campus. Kentucky American Water is asking for a rate increase that would add about $6 to the average customer's monthly water bill. The approval would increase its annual revenue by about $13 million per year, or about 15%. The company says it needs to recover the cost of system improvements and major construction projects that have been finished since the last rate adjustment in 2013. Now, there will be 2 parts to the meeting. The informational part will begin at 5:30. The public comment portion will follow right after at 6:30. Once again, the meeting will be held at BCTC's Conference Center on the Leestown Road campus. At the live desk, Mike Byer, WKYT.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. 6:04 now on WKYT this morning, and voters in 6 states are heading to the polls today, including the biggest prize of them all, California.
Today's contest comes as Hillary Clinton makes history to become the first female presumptive presidential nominee in U.S. history. But rival Bernie Sanders says he's not backing down. Chris Martinez has the latest from Los Angeles.
On the eve of today's nominating contest, presumptive Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton urged voters at a star-studded fundraiser in Los Angeles to deliver her a big victory in California.
Get everybody you know to come out and vote tomorrow, and then let's go forward and win this election in November.
The former Secretary of State made history Monday, gaining commitments from a mix of elected delegates and superdelegates to become the first woman to ever top a major party ticket.
We are on the brink of a historic, unprecedented moment.
But Clinton's rival Bernie Sanders is pushing back. Yesterday, his campaign released a statement accusing the media of rushing to judgment.
In every instance, we beat Trump by far larger margins than does Hillary Clinton.
Clinton's likely Republican opponent, Donald Trump, heads into today's contests unopposed, but also under fire from members of his own party.
The latest backlash erupted after he criticized the Mexican heritage of a federal judge presiding over a lawsuit against Trump University.
I think he's an honest guy. Mexican or not Mexican, all I want him to do is give me a fair shake.
Yesterday, Senator Lindsey Graham became the latest Republican to condemn Trump, calling the remarks un-American. Graham called on Republicans backing the presumptive GOP nominee to rescind their endorsements. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Sanders will take in the results of tonight's contest from his home state of Vermont, where he will reportedly begin to assess his campaign. The White House says President Obama is preparing to endorse Clinton in the coming days.
Well, memorials and tributes for Muhammad Ali will continue this week here in Kentucky. Over in Louisville, hundreds of people gathered outside of Ali's childhood home for a special service to honor their hero. Even in death, those we talked with at the memorial said the champ's spirit is still bringing people together. And there were not many tears, but there were a lot of messages of hope.
It's been sad, but then it's been hopeful that so many people are coming together.
It gives you faith in humanity. It makes you think
that you can change.
It's like the evolution.
Right.
Think that we might have a chance as humans.
After the service, organizers led the children and the rest of the people who attended the memorial on a short march down Grand Avenue. They say they wanted to bring Ali's spirit to the whole neighborhood.
And we're learning more about memorial services planned for the late Muhammad Ali. Thursday at noon, an Islamic funeral prayer program honoring Ali will be held at Freedom Hall in Louisville. 14,000 free tickets will be available to the public. Tickets will be available at the Freedom Hall box office starting at 10 this morning. The public memorial service for Ali will be held Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. The service will be at the KFC Yum Center, also in Louisville. There are 15,000 free tickets available for that service, and tickets will be handed out tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock at the Yum Center box office. Ali's family says actor Will Smith, who portrayed the legendary boxer in the film Ali, will be one of the pallbearers at his funeral. You'll be able to watch Friday's service live on WKYT.com.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We're looking pretty good this morning, except for just a couple of locations. One down just south of Somerset as you roll across that 27 corridor, and there's a little shower right there. It's fading away. And then the next part is over toward the east-southeast. That's where we're going to be looking at some of this rain as it passes on through. Somerset, Burnside, Ferguson, those areas right along that 27 corridor. That's your best bet to see a couple of sprinkles. But if you're looking far southeast, you go in just north of Hazard, Hyman, Pippa passes, Alice Lloyd College getting in on the mix at this moment. Prestonsburg still seeing that. And like I said, that Burnside and Somerset area, that's where we're seeing a couple of sprinkles, passing light shower. That's about it. We had a few rumbles early on. But listen to this. The last time we actually reached 90-plus degrees was September 8th. Of last year. It's been a while, but here we go with some of these storms that will be rolling on through. It will actually knock down our temperatures the next few days, and then we actually see 90 degrees in the forecast the next few days. So just keep in mind that, yeah, it's going to be feeling really nice, But yeah, here we go with some rumbles of thunder as we approach that afternoon hour there on Friday. So things will start to change as we go up and down through your forecast. 77 degrees later on this afternoon. A good looking day. If there is a slight chance of rain the rest of the day, it's going to be far northeastern zones. Just can't rule that out. But for the most part, it's a nice day in store. Then we're talking about this muggy meter. Yesterday, it was still a little bit muggy, but we had the wind, we had the breeze. That helped us out. But now, since that front has rolled on through, look at that. Boy, those look good. That's exactly what you want to see here in early June. So we'll take that. And look, we're going to have that the next few days, not just dropping that humidity, but the temperatures too. And so we're looking at 72 degrees tomorrow. We're looking at 78 there as you travel towards your Thursday. The next 3 days look fantastic. It's after that that doesn't look so fantastic. Friday, a couple of rumbles, 80s. Then we bring in the 90s for the weekend.
The muggies return.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right. Good thing you cut that off there on Thursday. Yeah, thank you, Micah. 6:10 our time, and every morning right here, we bring you weather and traffic together. And here's Officer Don with a look at what's happening on the roads. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Just checked downtown, and there's a non-injury crash on South Lime. This one's just past Upper Street, it looks like. A couple of cars involved. They're going to get it cleared in just a little bit. Other than that, downtown looks good. Let's get a look at overall traffic picture this morning. And as you can see, inbound looks great from Nicholasville. No major delays from Winchester, and we're okay now from Versailles too. As far as our drive times are concerned, we should be good to go as we get a look at our map there from LFUCG, a traffic cam at Manowar and Nicholasville Road. And our drive times are in good shape coming in from Nicholasville, 12 to 14 minutes so far this morning. No major issues on the north side. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, a good start to the day out there. Thank you very much, Don. 6:11 on WKYT this morning. We're live from Lexington with all the latest and a lot more news coming right up.
Yeah, the mother of the little boy who fell into the Cincinnati Zoo's gorilla exhibit will not face charges for the incident. How prosecutors determine their decision, we'll have that after the break.
Good morning. Welcome back into WKYT this morning. We're so glad you're with us on this Tuesday at 6:15. Cincinnati Zoo officials are planning to reopen the gorilla exhibit today after new safety barriers have been installed.
The reopening comes a day after prosecutors decided not to charge the mother of the boy who fell into the exhibit last weekend. Now, the boy slipped into the enclosure on May 28th and had a 10-minute encounter with the 17-year-old gorilla before zoo workers shot and killed the animal. A witness told reporters the boy's mother was temporarily distracted by her other children when the boy fell into the exhibit. Prosecutors determined it was not criminal and said what happened was understandable.
This mother did not act in any way where she presented this child to some harm. She had 3 other kids with her and turned her back. You know, and I've gotten dozens, if not hundreds, of emails about this case. And if anyone doesn't believe a 3-year-old can scamper off very quickly, they've never had kids, because they can, and they do.
In a statement, the boy's family said they're pleased that no charges will be filed.
Here at WKYT News, we are monitoring a developing story overseas. Turkish media report a vehicle carrying riot police near Istanbul University was bombed during rush hour traffic this morning. At this time, there has been no claim of responsibility for the attack. Turkish police say at least 11 people were killed in the blast. They also say nearby buildings and some vehicles have been damaged. Tropical storm Colin continues to move up the southeast coast after barreling through Florida. The powerful storm dumped heavy rain in parts of the state yesterday, downing trees and flooding out roads in many areas. Florida's Governor Rick Scott has declared a state of emergency in dozens of counties in the Sunshine State. June 7th has been declared Prince Day in the state of Minnesota. The declaration marks what would have been the singing sensation's 58th birthday. Prince died last month from an accidental overdose of painkillers. Today, fans across the globe plan to celebrate Prince's contributions to the world of music, from a dance party in Minneapolis to an official Prince birthday celebration in Ireland. Prince was a member of the Jehovah's Witness religion and therefore did not celebrate birthdays. But that's not dissuading fans from partying like it's 1999 here on his birthday.
Well, the time is 6:18. Hostess is recalling more than 700,000 cases of its snack cakes and donuts. The snack food giant says the snacks may contain peanut residue not listed in their ingredients. The residue can sicken those allergic or highly sensitive to peanuts. Hostess blames the residue on flour recently recalled by its supplier, Grain Craft. Brands affected by the recall include Ding Dongs, Zingers, Chocodiles, and the FDA says anyone with a peanut allergy or sensitivity who has an affected product should either throw it away or return it to the store where it was purchased. T-Mobile CEO says he's going to thank his customers like he's never thanked them before by giving them a piece of the company. John Legere announced yesterday that T-Mobile is offering new and existing primary account holders 1 share of common stock. There are about 11 million existing customers who are eligible. T-Mobile is currently trading at about $44. Customers can sign up for the stock through the new T-Mobile app today, or they can visit the website tmobiletuesdays.com. American Airlines is moving to improve its in-flight internet. The world's largest airline signed a deal with Viasat, a satellite internet provider, to provide high-speed service to 100 of its newest planes. Viasat already provides service to United, JetBlue, and Virgin America. Its higher speed allows better video streaming on services such as Netflix and Amazon.
All right, so you can entertain yourself a little bit on your way to your destination. Our time this morning is 6:19, and WKYT this morning is just getting started. So good to have you with us on this Tuesday. A jewelry store in India was a victim of some real monkey business when it was robbed by, you guessed it, a monkey. The security footage that caught the act is now going viral, and it's ahead this morning.
And we're looking for that front to pass on through, bringing in some much cooler conditions. I'm going to show you where those temperatures go coming up next.
Welcome back into WKYT this morning, 6:23 on your Tuesday.
Additional testimony could be heard this morning as a trial for a Lexington man's murder is set to resume.
And that's what's trending at this hour. Investigators say Mark Taylor killed former UK employee Alex Johnson in 2013. Testimony could be heard from Johnson's girlfriend and the man who admitted to kidnapping Johnson, Timothy Ballard. That's expected later this morning. And now a quick check of the weather forecast this morning. Meteorologist Micah Harris on duty. It's been we had a little shower or two early, but it is really nice now, Micah.
That's exactly right, and that's what we're looking at down toward the south and southeast. As we look towards Somerset, that's where we're seeing bits and pieces of some rain, and also over towards your southeastern zones rolling through Knott County and also portions of Floyd County. Heads up Pikeville and Pike County. It's rolling right toward you, but not everybody is seeing this. Look what most are seeing at this moment. Beautiful start to the day, absolutely fantastic. And it looks like as you're walking out the door, things aren't feeling all that bad either. So there's the look. Now let's talk about the feel outside. The feel, we're sitting there in the 60s. So it's a nice start today, really fantastic weather. We get into your afternoon, 77 degrees. Great day in store, guys. We actually dropped that temperature for tomorrow, so it's really, really comfortable tomorrow as that humidity drops too. And then we head towards your weekend. Your weekend gets scorching hot. Notice I didn't say warm, scorching hot. I'm going to show you 90s in your forecast coming up.
Okay, I guess we're ready for that, right? Might as well be. 6:25, surveillance video from India captured a monkey robbing a jewelry store. And it's simply bananas.
Yeah, check it out. This little guy's monkey business was caught on camera and is now making the rounds online. The monkey starts by throwing a piece of fruit into the shop and then opens the cash drawer and makes off with about $150 worth of rupees. Store employees tried using a banana to catch the furry thief, but alas, he didn't take the bait and hightailed it out of there. Interesting.
Seemed to know what he was doing,
yeah,
you know?
Smart monkey there. Well, this next story is nothing short of heartwarming.
Air Force Staff Sergeant Amber Nonemaker received a standing ovation while being honored before the Toronto Blue Jays Boston Red Sox game. The diehard Red Sox fan was chosen to throw out the first pitch. Well, it was a dream come true. Nonemaker got a second ovation moments later when her boyfriend proposed to her right in front of thousands of people. She said yes. making the day one that she will never forget. What a special day.
I bet, and now it's captured on TV. Well, she'll never, she'll be able to relive it anytime she wants. That's
you got
special.
that right. Everybody share that moment with her. 6:26 on WKYT on this beautiful start to your Tuesday. A lot more news coming up from WKYT.
Yeah, when WKYT returns this morning, a Lincoln County inmate managed to escape while being transported back to jail. Why investigators say he had the key plan. Coming up at 6:30.
All of our top stories are on the way. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $260 million. And Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot is $123 million. Keep it here on WKYT this morning.